Good morning, children. Today we are going to see biology. Alright, so first take your science textbook in hand and a note for taking notes and a pen or pencil readily available. Okay, open your content page in the textbook and mark the chapters 1, 2, 7, 8, 9 and 10 for your biology. You can put the letter B near the name of the chapter. Okay? Always use pencils in your textbook. Avoid using pen. Today we are going to see the chapter number 1, crop production and management. This is just a continuation of your chapters which you learnt in your lower grades. Food, where does it come from? Okay? It is just a continuation, the next level of the same chapter. It is a very vast chapter and I will be going very slowly in detail with each and every topic. Okay, so let us get into the chapter. Why do we need food? Why are we depending on food in our daily life activities, my dear children? To utilize energy, for growth, okay, then for any repair of the body parts, to survive and live long. Yes, for all these things we depend on food. Yeah? Okay. Now, where does this food actually come from? Now, please do listen to me carefully, my dear children, that this chapter includes a lot of content in it. I have covered the majority of it by using keywords in my note. So, what I expect from you all is you need to listen to my words carefully and take notes. I have just listed out the keywords for my teaching. Okay, so please do listen to my words also. I have not written sentence by sentence in this note. You have to frame your own sentence from this keyword from which I teach you. Okay, so first we saw why do we need food. We need food for some purposes, like the number 1, to utilize energy, to survive and live long. Point number 2. Point number 3, to repair the body parts and for the proper growth of the human body. Okay, now where do we get this food from? What are the sources of food? This you have learnt in your grade 7 itself, that there are 2 sources of food: plant sources and animal sources. Plant sources are nothing but your fruits, vegetable, flowers, stem and roots. The edible parts obtained from the parts of the plant. Whereas animal sources will include meat, fish, milk. No, my dear children? Okay. Now, let us see how plants prepare food. Plants prepare food by the process of photosynthesis. I hope you know what is meant by photosynthesis. In the presence of sunlight, the leaves will prepare food for the plant. Yes, that is the process of photosynthesis. And how do animals prepare their food? Animals will depend on plants. Even we human beings also depend on plants for our food preparation. And that is where we learnt about herbivore, carnivore and omnivores. Herbivores means plant eating animals. Carnivores means animal eating animals. Omnivore means both plant and animal eating. Okay. The next we are going to see about autotrophs and heterotrophs. What is meant by autotrophs? Autotrophs means the living organisms which can prepare their own food. Can I tell as plants? Because plants are the only living organisms which can prepare their own food. So autotrophs means example is plant because they prepare their own food. And what would be the example for heterotrophs? Obviously, it is animals and human beings. Because we do not prepare our own food and we depend on other living organisms. That is our ecosystem. No, my dear children, the food cycle. Yeah. The next thing, so how did the ancients find food? How did they find food and how did they live their life? They were wandering in search of food and shelter from one place to another. Yes, initially they just were hunting animals. Whatever the animal they saw, they considered it as a food for them and they hunted it. Okay, now as the population was increasing, they found the shortage of food for them. Okay, the earth has a good resource of animals in the planet. But as the population of human beings were increasing, there they found a shortage of food. So there they come up with a new idea of growing plants. That is what your cultivation started. Okay, so they came up with so many ideas to cope up with the nature and to find food for them. That is what brought a revolution in the world's history. A new change in the formation or found for the in search of food for the human beings. Okay, this is something apart from your textbook, my dear children. There are so many revolutions. Okay, that is, if we call it as green revolution, it refers to agriculture, growing food grains and crops. If I tell it as blue revolution, it refers to fishes management and production. White revolution, milk production. Yellow revolution, oil seeds. Golden revolution, it refers to pulses. So it is just the name of the revolution gets the color of the item which we are all managing. Food crops, all the plants are green in color, so it gets the name as green revolution. Fishes, aquatic animals. So water is blue in color and it is blue revolution. Milk products, white in color, white revolution. Oil seeds, yellow in color, yellow revolution. Pulses, golden in color, golden revolution. This is the revolution which were brought up by the ancient people to manage the quantity of food, as there were a continuous increase in the human population and there was a continuous decrease in the amount the number of animals or resources. They brought a new idea to prepare food. They were making use of all these sources, including fish, milk we obtain from cow, okay, and oils, pulses, crops, everything, and they brought up this new idea of revolution. Now please look at this chart, okay. This is not, these numbers will tell you why did the revolution came into origin. 7.7 billion, it is the world's population. In India, the population is 1.37 billion. Whereas in the world's total land area, only 11% is used for cultivation. Imagine, my dear children, out of 100% of land area, okay, only 11% is used for cultivation. But consider about the population. The population number is more than the cultivable land area's percentage. It is not equal. So that is the reason we came up with a revolution. What happens in India? India has 159.7 million hectares as cultivable land and it stands in the second position in the world for the land area used for cultivation. Out of the 11% in the world's cultivable area, India alone accounts for 159.7 million hectares. So, as there is a continuous increase in the human population and the resources were less in number and the land area used for cultivation is also less, there came up a demand. Okay, demand for the food, that is the basic need of people. So now I think you got an idea how human beings from the ancient period, they came up to agriculture finally in search of food. So what is meant by agriculture first of all? You know that agriculture means growing crops food materials to satisfy the needs of people. Okay, I am telling you a new definition for agriculture, that agriculture, it does not include alone growing crops, it also includes about nurturing animals also. Nurturing animals means taking good care of animal resources also. So agriculture will include both growing crops as well as nurturing animals. So first tell me, what is meant by crop? What is the difference between a plant and a crop? Okay, plant means it is a separate tree or a plant species grown alone. But when the same kind of plant is cultivated on a large scale in the field. Have you been to the rice crops field or cotton crops field? You could see up to your eyesight only the same crop, the same plant species will be grown. Okay, so the same kind of plant cultivated means grown on a large scale in the entire field, then I give the name as crops. I am telling you again and again, plant is different and crop is different. Crop means a large amount of the same plant will be grown. Example, crop of wheat, crop of rice, cotton crops. So what is meant by cultivation, which I have mentioned here? Cultivation means caring for the growth of the particular plant species. Okay, now before going into the next process, step, I wanted to tell you something important regarding agriculture. So agriculture means both growing plants as well as nurturing animals. That means growing animals also, taking proper care and maintenance for animals. That is proved with their branches of agriculture: horticulture, olericulture, aquaculture and agronomy. Okay, horticulture means growing fruits and vegetables, proper maintenance and growth of fruits and flowers alone. I'm sorry, so sorry, it is fruits and flowers. Olericulture means growth of vegetables. Aquaculture means both aquatic plants and animals I will be taking care of. In agronomy, I will be taking good care of crops and soil. Soil in the sense, you know that for a proper growth of the plant species, there should be a sufficient suitable condition from the soil. The soil should be a suitable one. I cannot grow cotton in red soil. Cotton always grows in black soil. So this what is that? The condition of the soil also plays a major role in agriculture. This is just the branches of agriculture. Okay, so we saw about the crops. Crops means growing the same plant species in a large scale. I classify the crops into two types as kharif crops and rabi crops. Okay, kharif crops means they require more water for their growth and they usually seen in rainy seasons, only because in rainy season more water will be there and that is why it grows in rainy season. Yeah, and the time period in which these crops will grow is from June to September. You know that there is a seasonal fruits also, like your mango will be seen only in summer season, not in rainy season. Watermelon will be seen in summer season. Okay, there are some seasonal crops also. There is a particular time period for each and every crop to grow based on the requirement of water. So kharif crops will grow in June to September and examples will be like paddy, maize and cotton. Rabi crops are grown in winter season. They require less amount of water and that is why they are noticed during winter seasons from the month of October to March. Examples will be mustard, wheat and gram. Okay, now mangoes and watermelon are seen as the seasonal crops, especially during your summer season. What about your sugarcane? Sugarcane will be a perennial crop, which is perennial means which is grown for the entire 365 days. There is no season for that crop. Okay, apart from your kharif and rabi crops, sugarcane will be a different one. Alright, now I think you are clear with what is agriculture and what are crops and how the time period in which the crops are growing, and based on that how am I classifying the crops. Now this chapter will be dealing a very important processes, that is your crop production process, as the name of the chapter tells, crop production and management. How am I producing a crop from the starting stage till I harvest and reach it to the human beings? What are the processes involved and how do I manage it? Okay, these 7 processes are explained in very detail. Today I will be starting with the preparation of soil alone. We need to go step by step and slowly in detail with every processes. Okay, the first one is preparation of soil. Sowing, adding manure and fertilizer, irrigation, protection from weeds. Weeds means unwanted crops. Weeds means not your insects, my dear children. It is unwanted crops. Harvesting and storage. So today I will start with the first process, that is your preparation of soil. Okay, what is the step involved called as preparation of soil to grow a crop? To produce a crop, what am I going to do the soil first? First, I will dig the soil. Okay, the soil which will be in the it will be in its raw format. I am going to dig it and expose the inner layers of the soil to air. That is the very first process I am going to start with to grow a crop in an efficient manner. I will dig the soil and expose the inner layers of the soil to the atmosphere. So, this process of loosening or turning the soil is your tilling or ploughing. Okay, ploughing is that in this preparation of soil, totally 2 processes are involved, my dear children. Ploughing and tilling. Ploughing means digging. Okay, you're going to dig the soil and expose all the layers of the soil to the air. And what is meant by tilling? Tilling means leveling of soil. After digging, I need to level the soil. Why is it so? That we will be seeing in the process. Okay, now first let us go with the digging process. So I am telling you again and again, this preparation will be of 2 types. First I am going to plough the soil and the next I am going to tilling it. So ploughing means exposing, digging. I am going to expose the layers to the air, and tilling means I am going to level the layers. Why am I going to do so? Let us see now. So first is ploughing. So what I am doing in ploughing? I am going to dig the soil. How am I going to dig it? By the agricultural instruments. Plough, hoe and cultivator. Plough is the most traditional method, which is also a manual method. Manual method means it is done by man. Okay, ploughing will have a human being and 2 cows. Okay, they will be having a wooden or iron stick tied to the cow, and the man will graze the cow in the field, so that as the cow moves on, along with the cow the wooden stick will be tied. Okay, so that the layers of the soil are digged. The images you can see in your textbook, it is given very clearly. This is a manual method which the human beings are following as a traditional method to dig the soil. Hoe is another agricultural instrument used to dig the soil. This is also a modern method. And the cultivator is nothing but your tractors. You could have seen this in many movies. Okay, tractors. Have you seen this movie Something Something? There, when Jayam Ravi goes to see Trisha, Trisha's brother will ask him to cultivate crops. He will not give the tractor to Jayam Ravi. Instead, he will give 2 cows to him. Jayam Ravi will use the cows and he will use a wooden stick to dig the soil. That is called as ploughing. And the tractors used for cultivating is called, for digging is called as your cultivator. The tractor is a modern method where the labor cost is minimum but the output is maximum. You could have done by using tractors, the work will be much easier and it is done in a very short time. This is the most efficient way for ploughing. Tractors, that is your cultivator, because it saves time, more output and less labor cost. These are the 3 advantages of cultivator as your agricultural instrument for ploughing. Okay, once the ploughing is done, what is actually happening? There are 3 points happens when you dig the soil. Point number 1, the roots of the plant when you sow will be able to breathe and penetrate deep into the soil. So that is why I am digging the soil and exposing the soil to the air and making the soil as a loosened state. Okay, there will be soils which are all of a great mass called as crump. They will be of together. Crumbs means மண்ணெல்லாம் கட்டி கட்டியா இருக்கும். That is called as crumbs. So that is why I am digging the layers of the soil so that the soil will become loosened. So that once I grow the plant, the roots will be able to breathe easily and they penetrate deep into the soil. Point number 2. So the soil will have the essential nutrients for the growth of the plant. That nutrients will come to the top layer and it enables my plant to grow faster. Okay, so the growth and the nourishment of the crop, the nutrients will be made to come to the top layer of the soil by digging. And the third point is growth of microorganism. Who is the farmer's friend in the field, my dear children? It is your earthworm. I'm sorry, there is a spelling mistake. It is your earthworm. The earthworm is your farmer's friend because it will make the soils loose and enables the growth of the plant in an effective way. So the earthworm will enrich or will allow or appreciates the humus addition. What do you mean by humus, my dear children? The decomposition of plant materials. Okay, all the decayed materials will be present in the soil and which also acts as a nutrient for the plant growth. So the growth of microorganisms, so that the earthworms will allow the soil to be loosened and thereby enriching the humus growth, humus content in the soil. Humus is nothing but the decomposed matter present in the soil, which is an efficient nutrient for the plant. Okay, so we are done with the ploughing process and the next one is tilling. Tilling is nothing but leveling the soil. Why do we level the soil? What is meant by leveling first of all? Okay, now the soil which is loosened, okay, which is exposed to the air will be like I will be just pressing it like this. I will be pressing the soil layers like this or I will be petting it. Okay, so that the soil is ready for the next process of sowing. I cannot grow or sow the seeds in an in an irregular pattern of soil. The soil has to be leveled first of all and then it would be easy for me to sow the soil. Now through this ploughing process, I have made all the inner layers of the soil to reach the top layer, and after leveling, I am making the soil ready for the sowing stage. So what are the advantages of leveling the soil? There are 5 advantages of leveling. Okay, the soil will become compact. Compact means in a proper regular manner so that it is ready for sowing. Sowing becomes proper and soil erosion will be prevented. by leveling. Do you agree with me, my dear children? Yes. Soil erosion can be prevented if I just press it and make it in a proper compacted format. It can be irrigated uniformly and more water can be absorbed. These 5 points are your advantages of leveling. Okay, my dear children. So today we saw about preparation of soil, and in that you have two processes, plowing and tilling, and their advantages also we saw. Why is it done also we saw. So why, how and what, all the answers for these processes I think I have answered it. So what is plowing? It is just your loosening of soil. And why am I doing it? To enrich the nutrients and the roots to penetrate deep into the soil, and also the growth of microorganisms. And how am I doing it? By the agricultural instruments, hoe, plow and cultivator. I request you all to see the instruments picture in your textbook. And the next process was tilling. Tilling means leveling the soil, and we saw the advantages of leveling, so that it enables, I am giving my land ready lead to the next process of sowing. Okay. Also, I forgot to tell you all one more point, that during this process of digging, some people will spray the fertilizers. Okay, so that the fertilizers also gets mixed with the soil in a proper manner. Okay, my dear children, regarding today's homework, I request you all to read the pages mentioned in the textbook. If you have any doubt, please do contact me. This is a very important chapter, and all the 7 processes will be very big and in very detail it is explained. I will make it easy for you, and one process only I have taught you. Please be very clear with that. Thank you, children. See you in the next class.